बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम रब्बी इश्रह ली सदरी व यस्सिर ली अमरी व अहलुल उक़दतन मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली. We continue with this course that is an urban mass transportation planning, and this is the second part of my lecture, lecture 1. That was. Now let's go in a formal way. How you define the transportation planning? Obviously, a planning is a process of defining future policies, goals, investment, and designs to prepare for future needs to move people and goods to destinations. Now, it's not only the people, it, an effective transportation planning, from my perspective, should also cover the, transfer of goods. For example, if you can manage to have pipelines for transferring the oils or the petroleum product instead of commuting with the tanker, it will save lot of traffic congestion, and it will also save the poor road infrastructure of our country. Because and not only that, but if you analyze the gravity of the situation, unfortunately, most of the reported accidents involve those fluid carrying trucks and a motorcyclist most of the time. So, and I don't understand, in the city, a pipeline can be used to transport fuels. Why we need trucks to get transport? So this can be done as well. So even the management of the transportation of the fuels is a part of transportation plan. The other thing is about transportation planning is about, connecting different modes of transportation. You know that when we talk about transportation, we have a surface transportation, we have an air transportation, and we have a waterway transportation. In surface transportation, we have roads and highways as well as the railways. Now, all the other mode of transportation, like airways and waterways and railways, they are dependent upon the road transportation. So even someone wants to use air transportation, and that may form the majority of its journey part, but he or she has to take the road transportation or maybe railway transportation to connect to the airport. So an adequate planning of even those modes, connecting those modes with an efficient land transportation system, will also result in less congestion to our roads. It will save people's time. So it's transportation planning, though in this section or this course, we will be talking about the urban mass transportation planning. But obviously, this urban mass transportation planning can play its part in other form of transportation mode as well, connecting transportation mode as well. Now, why we need this planning? We can see classically, this transport planning is defined as planning required in the operation, provision, and management of facilities and service for the modes of transport to achieve safer, faster, comfortable, convenient, economical, and environmental friendly movement of people and goods. You see, safety is our first objective. There is nothing better than faster and safer. And sometimes you can you cannot say comfortable. If it is not comfortable, it is not safer as well. Convenient, yes, it should be easily accessible, as well as it will save the, the user cost, the public cost, and it should be environmental friendly towards the non-users. What I mean by environment friendly, less noise, less pollution. Uh, Mind you, if you are living in a Karachi and you go to your office, say travel 20 to 25 kilometers or 15 to 25 kilometers, in the city like Karachi, you cannot have your white outfit. Believe me, this white outfit or white shirt or white shalwar means whatever you wear will not be white at the end of the journey. This is the big truth in not only in Karachi, but I feel most of the mega cities, especially the developed, underdeveloped countries, where majority of the people use motorcycle. So mind you, that is not environment friendly. About the noise, I can say that most of the people in our mega cities, they have a hearing problem because they are immune to such noise, not only from the vehicle itself, from the horns we all blow to ask people to move away from us, to move in front of us, or make it early, make your vehicle, even if you are, standing at the signal, you are waiting for the time. There are always people blowing a horn to just move forward so they can move left, or they can go, or they can break themselves, signals themselves. So this is a noise pollution, and I can, always say, and this is, though I am not, I don't have any substantial data to prove that most of the people who are riding bicycles, for instance, for last 5 or 10 years, I think they should check their deafness level. It's not according to normal people. That's why we talk loud as well. And when we talk loud, people think that maybe you are fighting with these guys. That is normal. Because if you hear low, you don't hear yourself, and consequently you start uh, talking in a high tone, and this is what happens to the people in our areas. People have over the years has come up with a very good definition of transportation planning is accessibility. The ability to reach goods, services, and activities. It appreciates the value of more accessible land use patterns and mobility substitutes, such as telecommuting and delivery services, to improve urban transportation. This UT means urban transportation while reducing total physical travel. Uh, we continue with this thing. Now, why we can say we can only plan about the prediction of the usage demand in future travel and to ensure the necessary facilities and service to cater that demand. Transportation planning always defines the shape of the city. It enables the economic activities. Uh, it promotes the community interactions and enhance the quality of life. It joins nation. That this is one way. Nowadays, obviously, the use of internet, they are also uh, joining communities, a community-wide worldwide. Now we can communicate. This sustainable development is also linked with transportation planning. And this also ensures the safety at various levels for all individuals. There are many names to transportation planning, such as an urban development, urban transport policies, legislative activities, funding bodies, and project management that come together. The transportation planning covers all aspects of city life, such as economic development, quality of life, health of public and environment, and thereby supporting the long-term ecological balance. Planners and engineers focus on efficient movement of people and goods across the country. Environment and social impact assessment is necessary for urban transport project and should be carried out without planning to ensure no harm will come to the environment and the habit on a short or long-term basis. They remind you this urban mass transportation planning should not be isolated without the road accident audits. Because inculcating this road safety audits in your planning will define new horizons, will make your planning more viable, more productive, and it will save you from the future mishappenings. Because sometimes if you ignore, for instance, in a road safety audit, one of the audit, where how you are going to provide safety for the pedestrian. And if in your plan you have not actually have not gone through the practice of road safety audit, then once your project is completed, it becomes operational, then you will have this problem. So it's very important. The planning, any planning cannot be done in the isolation. As I always maintain, for instance, you have two linked signals, traffic signals, and you find that one of the signal is congested. So what you do, you plan either a flyover or a underpass as whatever is your physical definition or the feasible solution is, viable solution at that point. But when you leave the second roundabout, second signal, without doing, and you just correct the first signal that is more congested, the future of the uh, second signal will also be in jeopardy, because that problem will be shifted to the second signal. So we have to think, we don't have, in a planner should not think in isolation, one. The other key point about planning should be due in advance, say 20 years before. It's not like, you are planning something after 3 years. No, that though those plans that has been executed uh, nowadays must have been planned before. That's a very important thing. Move on. What are the transportation land use interaction, or in terms of uh, the cycle? Now, once what you do, you have a landscape. You do economic analysis. You go set the demographic processes. You have technological changes and the public policy that combine to have the activity pattern. This activity pattern will have transportation. And from this transportation, you will achieve the accessibility. And this accessibility will change the land use patterns, and the cycle goes on. And, if one of the component is missing on the left-hand side, this will have a dreadful effect on the right-hand side. And even with this cycle, if one of the thing is not being given due weightage, all the planning is going to fail. So if we can say like this, transportation and land use are part of retroactive feedback systems. Accessibility is shaped by the structure, capacity, and connectivity of transportation infrastructure, which may not be uniform. Since accessibility differs, this attribute has an impact on land use, such as the location of new activities, their expansion or densification. These changes will influence activity patterns in terms of their distribution and level of transport demand. Will shape the planning, maintenance, and upgrade of transportation infrastructure and services such as roads and public transport. Looking back in last 20 years, we have the land use patterns, the habits of the people have changed, shopping habits. Now we used to have large supermarket, and that large supermarket, if it is located on the main arterial, will definitely influence the activity patterns. Most of the main arterials in the past were used for commuting to the offices, to the shops. What is this pattern of the shopping pattern of the people has done? It has created an extra burden on our infrastructure. People who used to use that road facility for accessibility to the office, they also use it for the shopping facility, shopping needs. And that shopping needs has created the demand for the parking. And for the demand of the parking, you need more space. And unfortunately, while you were planning, say, 30 years ago, you have not planned this land for large supermarket. Large supermarket must have adequate parking system. And that if this results in unwanted vehicle standing on the road parking, and that has created a lot of trouble for the people who have nothing to do with the shopping. And that commuter uh, has to stop, has to wait, and get herself or himself frustrated for no reasons. So these are the land use patterns change the travel demand, change the transportation demand. And it want us to have an adequate transportation infrastructure. Now, let's go one by one. What are land use restriction? The interaction between transportation and land use are part of complex framework, includes economic, politic, demographic, and technological changes. Several characters and processes have an influence on the dynamics between transportation and land use. Changes in transportation technology, investment, and service characteristics can overall uh, affect, alter accessibility level. Recent trends toward digitization is also providing new impetus to urban mobility, such as on-demand services and the availability of large amount of information about the characters of urban travels. E-commerce by itself is generating an entirely new set of patterns in urban freight distribution, particularly with home deliveries. Now we have e-taxis, where you can access. Overall, if all those e-travels, the services, the taxi service, they have facilitated the people. But actually, by facilitating the people, it has also created congestion on the road. That must be seen, and that you know in the classical way we used to define the travel pattern based on the people that own motor cars. Now the people don't own motor car, but actually they are using motor car as a paratransit. That's very true. But again, it's not mass. It's not a replacement of mass transit. Consequently, we have now more vehicles. Obviously, a vehicle in the form of paratransit and the personal transit, and that has also created a lot of traffic congestion pattern. On the other hand, delivery on the home has also curtailed some of the travel demand. But in a real sense, if you look at that thing as well, the good effect of e-commerce, home delivery system, but it has not, from my experience, I feel it has not, eased the demand of traffic. It also has created some traffic because now we used to have some uh, large vans delivery, home delivery vehicles that are now using city roads. Previously, we have only personal vehicles that can use, and the commercial vehicles are allowed um, on during the night. But because of these home deliveries, they are not classically in home delivery vehicle, but actually they are commercial vehicle as well. So that's the point. Even with the e-commerce, the pressure on traffic demand or the road infrastructure has not eased out as people would have think. Another way, the post in the during the COVID days, people have learned to work from home. Again, you know, what has happened is, yes, you are working from the home, but it, your shopping habit has, you know, also changed. So when you are home, you in order to go out, you go to the shopping, and that shopping may not be used. Shopping habit may not be used while you are in office. So balancing has, this may have a balancing effect as well. Uh, while land use characteristics affect the patterns such as zoning patterns, regulation, availability of land, public utilities, telecommunication infrastructure. Of special importance are the changes in trip generation, both passengers and freight, which are influenced by economic and demographic changes. This all rotate around the population growth, which is always a vector for additional transportation demand, but rising income as well. Trip patterns may change in number of ways, such in terms of the number of trips, timing of the trip, their origin or destination, the mode, and the trip chaining. These changes in travel demand exert considerable influence on the development of new transportation infrastructure or service. As such, the interaction between transportation and land use are often referred as a challenge since it is empirically difficult to demonstrate if transportation changes precede land use changes or vice versa. So yes, classically when we say when you develop a route, the other land use pattern change. Yes, but it can also be like this. This transportation demand, this transportation plan may be because of the land use changes. You need some infrastructure, you need some public infrastructure, or vice versa. So how you integrate land use and transportation strategies? Promote balanced spatial growth, minimize land requirement of transport, promote transit-oriented growth, reduce the need to travel, and encourage walkable, cyclable labor. So we stop here as the second part of my lecture. Uh, take good care of yourself. We'll have next lecture, continue with the urban transportation planning um, as part 3 or part C, um, future. So thank you very much for your precious time and take care.